Hello everyone, welcome back to Namalax Bengaluru Presents Current Issue of the Day, episode number 173. In today's episode, we will discuss about Maoism. Who are the Maoists? How is it different from Naxalism? What is left-wing extremism? Is Maoism still alive in India, or whether it has declined in India? If it has declined, what are the reasons behind it? And if it's still persisting, what are the threats are about it? And how do you address this issue, and how do you eliminate Maoism completely in India? All these things will be discussed in the video, so stay tuned towards the end of the video. So in syllabus it comes under GS3 internal security, and the context why we are discussing this Maoism today is because Maoist insurgency once dominant throughout red corridor is now limited to just 18 districts. Experts attribute this decline to targeted development initiative, continuous counter-insurgency efforts, internal divisions, rigid ideology, leadership crisis, and loss of local support. All these reasons have led to decrease in Maoism. So the first question, Maoism has declined in India, however, it is not completely eliminated. We will discuss why it is not completely eliminated. First, we'll understand the basics. Back to the basics. What is left-wing extremism or Maoism or Naxalism? Okay, all the three are one and the same. They follow the ideology. Maoism, they are considered as left-wing because the Maoism ideology is considered as a leftist ideology. They are called Naxalites because the region or the area from where the Maoist originally started was in Naxalbari. So that is why they are called as Naxals as well. So Maoism, left-wing, and Naxalbari or Naxalism are one and the same. So the definition, how do they define Maoism or left-wing extremism is armed insurgency inspired by Maoist ideology rooted in socio-economic deprivation. Okay, so what is this Maoist ideology? So Maoist ideology has its root in China. In China and Chinese independence movement and the communist revolution, there was one person who led the movement, and it was Mao Zedong. His idea was mainly based on the communism. However, his idea slightly differentiated from the Russian ideology. His ideas were completely focused on economic sufficiency as well as communism. So that is what the Maoists try to strive in India. In India, Maoism is mainly focused on addressing the socio-economic deprivism through Maoist ideology, that is by armed revolution. Okay, so the origin is from the Naxalbari movement in 1967, started in West Bengal. The spread, it was across the red corridor. So initially, what were the red corridor? It consisted of states of Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Odisha, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Bihar, and West Bengal. So you might ask me a question, sir, doesn't this Maoism also exist in Karnataka? Yes, it does exist in Karnataka. It did exist in Kerala. However, it was more prevalent in these areas. That is why they were called as red corridor. Okay, so Maoism did and does exist outside of this red corridor as well. Next, the tactics. What are the tactics used by Maoists? Attacks on security forces, destruction of infrastructure, extortion, recruitment, where they recruit even the children, disruption of democratic processes, any elections or any panchayat elections, and they will go there and capture the booth. They will go there and kill the persons who are contesting the elections, and claim source as reality. It is a very important concept or aspect of Maoism. That is, they claim to represent tribal and marginalized rights, but often perpetuate violence and hampers local development. Okay, so this is their claim, and that is what is the reality. Next, we will discuss what is the red corridor. So at the extent of decline has been very high. That is, during the peak violence in 2010s, there were around 1936 incidents and 1005 deaths in a year. Currently, there are only 374 incidents and 153 deaths. So it has reduced a lot. And the district reduction, it has reduced from around 180 districts to just 18 districts now. The fatalities are down by 70% in the last 1 decade. Okay, so very significant improvement you can say. So what is this Naxal corridor or the red corridor? These are the regions which cover under red corridor. Okay. So this is about red corridor and the geographical districts or distribution. Highest concentration was in the Dandakaranya or Basta region of Chhattisgarh, followed by Telangana, Odisha, Bihar and Jharkhand, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Andhra, Odisha for special zone, Western Ghats and Punjab. So total there are 357 districts or regions which are infected or affected by Maoism. So this is the red corridor and now it has reduced just to 18 districts. Okay, so we will see key reasons behind the decline from around 300 districts to 18 districts. What are the reasons why the Maoism is on decline? So majorly it is because of targeted development plus security operations. That is the government schemes such as building the roads, schools, health centers in remote areas. It has led to local development. And landmark offensives, for example 21-day Narayanpur operation dismantled Maoist bases. And also there are dedicated forces, that is Cobra forces of the central government of CAPF and state-wise forces such as Greyhound of Andhra Pradesh. These were certain forces which are dedicated, which were created just to destroy the Maoism or Naxalism. So they have played a very important role in direct action or security operations against Maoisms. And as I said, one of the claim of Maoist is they represent local and tribal identity and they want local development. However, they were not able to achieve that local development. Instead, this local development was achieved by the government of India and the respective state governments. How? Through this government initiatives. Roads, schools, health centers, etc. in remote areas. As a result, it led to local development and this resulted in awareness generation. As a result, they understood that Maoism is not the way forward. Instead, we should go through democratic processes. Okay. Next is leadership crisis. That is resignation of Ganapati in 2018 hampered the growth of this Maoism. Next, Basavaraju's over-reliance on militarism alienated civilians. Next, Raju's death in 2025, majorly because of the internal betrayal, deepened leadership vacuum. Okay, these are important leaders of Maoism, but they have resigned and one has died already. Next, internal rifts, that is Politburo reduced to only 4 active members at the moment, and then large scale surrenders weakened the cohesion. Finally, the loss of public support. Any revolution dies whenever it loses the public support. Okay, similar to the important insurgency movements, similar to the Khalistani movement, similar to any of the revolutions which are around the world. It dies when it loses mass support. Same thing happened with Maoism as well. Prioritizing armed struggle over the local needs. This led to tribal youth now preferring education, jobs and mainstream inclusion rather than involving the Maoism. Okay. Next, despite this, is Maoism completely dead in India? Obviously no. There are still threats. So Maoism isn't completely dead. It persists in fragmented but still dangerous pockets. Few of the examples is in January 2025, Bijapur IED attack. Not the Karnataka Bijapur, but Bijapur of Chhattisgarh. A powerful 60 to 70 kg command IED killed 8 security personnel and civilian driver in Chhattisgarh. Next, in February 9, 2025, again Bijapur clash where security forces killed 31 Maoist insurgents, 2 personnel died and 2 were injured. And in May 2025, in Abu Jammar clash, 28 Maoists, including top leader Nambala Keshava Rao or Basavaraju, were killed in a major forest encounter. Only 1 security personnel was lost. Despite this, we can see the Maoism still persists in India. And now they are moving towards new tactics in Gadchiroli and Chhattisgarh. What is the new tactic? The tactic used here is Maoists have resorted to strangulations rather than shootings to instill fear. That is, they are targeting villagers, suspected informers, and ex-cadres. Who are the ex-cadres? Who were initially part of the Maoism or Naxalism groups and who have left this Naxalism, who are trying to live a normal life of Indian civilians or Indian citizens. They are targeting these ex-cadres and also targeting certain villagers who they perceive to be suspected informers to the police. Okay, so they are moving towards gun shootings, towards the personal security personnel, towards their own villages or ex-cadres. Okay, so this is instilling a sort of fear among the locals. Okay, so next is why Maoist threat still persists. Despite all the actions taken by the government, the threat still persists. Why? Because of the persistent tactical violence. That is, despite the decline, Maoist cells continue to carry out lethal attacks but in pockets. For examples, IEDs, ambush, and targeted killings are the methods they use in these attacks. Next is leadership and logistical remnants. That is, even after the fall of the senior leaders, pockets like Karnataka caused concern. That is why I told you. Police opposed disbanding anti-Naxal force, citing ideology remains. Okay, police have not disbanded anti-Naxal force because they say that despite the reduction in the actual Maoist, the ideology of the Naxalism or Maoism still persists, which is creating or instilling fear among the youth or the villagers. Next is geographic resilience. Where are the Maoists normally residing? The red corridor is full of dense forests such as Dandakaranya. It is very difficult to move into those positions or move into those areas and carry a tactical operation. That is why. That is, dense forest and remoteness facilitate guerrilla operations despite security advancements. Next is urban ideological infiltration. This is one of the very key threat that is being posed by Maoism. That is the phenomenon of urban Naxals. Who are these urban Naxals? They do not carry out the attacks forward by themselves. Rather, they sympathize with Naxals and they try to help them through money, help them through rest of the resources. Okay, sympathizers within academic, media, legal, and NGO spaces poses an ideological threat. Ongoing insurgency clusters. That is, as of 2025, 6 districts remain most affected. Those are Bijapur, Kanker, Narayanpur, Sukma in Chhattisgarh, and West Singhbhum in Jharkhand, and Gadchiroli in Maharashtra. Okay. Next, repeated attacks. That is, LED data, AC LED data shows at least 78 explosive incidents, 176 fire exchanges, and 113 arson cases in 24-25 across several states. Next is narrative space and grievances. That is, the Maoist ideology still taps into unresolved tribal grievances, land rights, and displacement, keeping potential recruitment and sympathy alive. Okay, just like how Khalistani movement gained momentum all of a sudden, the same thing can happen with respect to Naxalism or Maoism. That is why we have to stay vigilant. We have to curb it from the roots itself. We have to eliminate it completely. How? How is through the way forward, that is strengthening intelligence-led coordinated security operations across left-wing extremism states. Fast track last mile infrastructure, that is roads, telecom, electricity in affected areas. Implement PESA and Forest Rights Act to address tribal alienation. What is the PESA? That is Panchayat extension to scheduled areas. Who are the scheduled areas? These are mentioned in the 5th schedule, which are majorly resided by tribals. Okay, who have their own customs, their own traditions, etc., which have to be safeguarded, and they are safeguarded through Panchayat extension of Scheduled Areas Act. And then Forest Rights Act to address tribal nation. Under this Forest Rights Act of 2006, they provide certain rights, that is title rights, usership rights, community management rights, etc., etc., so that the tribal alienation can be addressed properly. Next is provide alternative livelihoods through agro production, fisheries, and ecotourism. Okay, and then engage youth via sports, culture, and skill development to prevent recruitment. Okay, next is offer attractive surrender and rehabilitation packages with microcredit support, and then run the counter propaganda campaigns in local languages to dismantle Maoist narratives, and then monitor and curb urban Maoist networks while safeguarding democratic dissent. So, as part of this video, I want to give you an homework. That homework is recently the Maharashtra government passed Urban Naxal Bill. That is the misnomer, but the bill name is something else. I want you to go and read about that particular bill. What are the important provisions and what is their aim? That is the homework for you today. Do it. It is very helpful for you. You can use this in your mains answers. Okay. Next, enforce laws against financing and recruitment under UAPA and state acts. Next, promote community policing, trust building with a zero tolerance for rights violations. Very important aspects. If we are going to address this in not only letter but in spirit, then we will be able to root out Maoism from its very depths. Okay. So this is the video for the day. We have covered this topic comprehensively. So in case you are writing mains this year, you can use certain points, some of the examples which are given here as a fodder material. So with this, I will be ending the video. If you like the video, then please hit the like button, comment on it and also share with your friends. And if you are new to the channel, subscribe to the channel and also click on the bell icon so that you don't miss any notification. With this, I will end the video. Jai Hind.